What's up, guys, and welcome back to BGC 2015. We are in the lower bracket, so elimination is on the line between Not Today and Isurus, who just got knocked down by T-Show, and it wasn't pretty at all. So, well, we'll see if they're able to bring it back, or if Not Today are going to continue their way through this lower bracket, and well, let's see how far they can get. I'm Mikelorus. This time, I'm going to be joined by Danelie. How are you doing today?
I'm hanging in there. That was a pretty long wait after that game, so kind of keep myself awake at this point. I'm about 15 minutes to 1 o'clock in the morning, so hopefully I'll last. I should last. But yeah, that was a pretty nasty game last game, and it was probably one of the weirdest drafts I've seen to date. I had not seen Death Prophet in how many patches has it been? No one's picked Death Prophet for ages.
Yeah, even in like the last patch, she was just never seen. I think it was the patch before that. Maybe in the one before that. Again, it's been a really long time, and Abaddon has fallen out a lot even before that. So just trying to bring it back. Not going to work at this time, but yeah, we have a different patch now, and we'll see if Isurus are going to have a little more of a meta-gamey pick here. It's interesting. Templar Assassin first pick. Not Today have been opening up with their Shadow Shaman quite a bit, and banning that one out is fair enough for Isurus, but TA is definitely a hero that can be pretty heavily counterpicked.
Yeah, I'm really surprised why they prioritized this Templar Assassin so early. Maybe this would be banned down the line. There's a possible chance that these teams have scrimmed together, so that they would be expecting certain heroes. So we might see some interesting heroes first off the bat, just because they want to secure them. But yes, TA, if you see her early, you can definitely prepare for her. Just get any sort of damage over time to tick out her refraction charges, and honestly, TA is pretty easy to deal with. But if you really, really want the TA, I'm honestly looking at her. We might see a negative armor strat incoming for Not Today, just because they picked her up so early.
Grab a Dazzle and a Broodmother or something along those lines. Get a pretty ridiculous heal bomb. I mean, on that subject of like scrimming together, DDX used to play for Isurus, so I'm pretty sure. I mean, it was a very different Isurus back then, to be fair, but these two teams should be pretty familiar with one another. Minus armor strategy, Slardar, get a Dazzle in there, and we'll just try to beat them down through sheer brute force. It is worth noting DDX Templar Assassin is a thing, and it's definitely a very scary thing, but for Isurus, they open up with a little bit more standard fare. Winter Wyvern is the first pick, maybe now considering Doom, who does shut down Templar Assassin pretty hard.
I definitely agree with the Doom pick if they really wanted to go in that direction. And it's not just the Templar Assassin that he'll shut down. He can shut down essentially every single hero in the game. So he would be a very useful asset to have if Isurus wants to go for that. But they're going to go for the Batrider instead. I have no issues with this, honestly. We don't normally see Batriders just because he's fallen off in terms of popularity, but he does do very well up against a Templar Assassin, especially during the team fights. The Napalm stacks are very annoying for a TA because you want to be as mobile as possible during the team fight. So not just the Napalm, but also the Firefly will hurt the Templar Assassin quite a bit.
For the record, my coughing had nothing to do there with the Batrider pick. That was purely coincidental, not kidding at all. But yeah, Batrider is the pick here for Isurus. I'm really not too sure how I feel about this hero in general. Batrider versus Templar Assassin used to be just like a pretty straightforward lane, 1v1 mid. Pretty much no questions asked. TA, even though she may get constantly swamped down by that Tar, can still do pretty well in lane, just sitting back and either fighting the Batrider or just poking at him with the side blade spill damage. And Batrider, I mean, whenever you go up against a Batrider, pretty much against anyone, you get stick charges. A Templar Assassin who constantly gets a stick charges and magic wand maybe to be constantly full is a really significant threat.
But let's assume this is just going to be an off-lane Batrider. I think if it's an off-lane Batrider, it's definitely fine to pick up the hero, because he's still going to be able to help the team deal with that Templar Assassin. You need damage ticks to get rid of the refraction charges. So I think having a bat would be useful, so that if they want to pick up a hero with some sort of burst like Alina, then at least she doesn't have to worry about hitting the TA a couple of times before trying to throw out that Laguna at the TA. Now, Queen of Pain is going to be the pickup here for Not Today. So Queen of Pain and Templar Assassins, is this hinting towards a safe lane Queen of Pain?
Yeah, I think it doesn't really make too much of a difference right now. Like, the fact of the matter is they have flexibility, so they can wait and see who's going to be in that mid lane and then put whoever's going to be better there. I mean, most of the time it's going to be Queen of Pain, but the flexibility is what's important here for Not Today. The fact that they have two heroes that really demand crowd control answers. And for Isurus, they have the Lasso, they have the Curse, which is a fine way to start, but when you have all your crowd control effects in the ultimates, you really want to have some other tool to counterplay against these blinkers. And I assume Templar Assassin is going to be going for a blink dagger this game, but Not Today with a lot of brute force strength. Like, these two heroes are just sheer damage output, and it's going to be a little bit difficult for Isurus to withstand that. Batrider is kind of more on the tanky side of intelligence heroes, but even he, which Wyvern with the Embrace, won't be able to sustain themselves completely up against this combo of Not Today. Got a Gyrocopter wind range to ban out. Dazzle is going to be taken out, so Not Today can't get that much minus armor. Although with the Queen of Pain pickup, it seems like minus armor is a little bit more so off the table.
I have to agree with this. I like the Wind Ranger ban coming out from Not Today. Wind Ranger would have been a very good hero to match up against both the Templar Assassin and the Queen of Pain. So they realized that there is still her in the pool. They got rid of her, so now that's less heroes for Isurus to pick from if they still want to go for something else for that mid lane. As you said, it could be a Batrider in the mid lane, but let's just assume it's going to be the standard off-lane Bat. I feel like he'll be so much better in the off-lane role, unless for some reason there's going to be supports that will shut down a Batrider completely. Then they may have to consider putting him in this in the mid lane instead, or just shove him in the jungle. That's fine as well. Final round will be an Ember Spirit. I guess this is warranted. Neither team has a lot of lockdown as of yet, so don't really want to have an Ember Spirit on the field as well. And here we go, the Doom pickup here for Isurus. So they're going to have... Is this definitely a mid Batrider now?
Yeah, most of the time that I've seen Doom, he's going to be going towards that off lane. And well, kind of same thing for the Batrider. I feel like both those heroes will probably be forced into the jungle, like at some point, especially now that Not Today picked up a Rubik, so there's going to be a lot of poking and prodding in that off lane. Yeah, Batrider definitely functions a lot better mid than Doom. Not a great lane for the Bat, but still better than the Doom. So I think that's probably going to be the laning assortment here for Isurus. The lanes are going to be a little bit awkward, yeah, but they have a Doom, and that's really what's important. Yeah, his ultimate is going to be another form of CC, and that's now 3 ultimates, and that's almost exclusively their crowd control. But Doom is so good versus Queen of Pain. She is utterly useless once she gets doomed. Templar Assassin can still put out some decent damage, but for the most part is completely shut down as well. The Not Today pick of Rubik actually has a lot of upside here. The ultimates, if he's able to steal them, are all very high impact on the Isurus side.
I really like the Rubik pick as well. And also it's going to give them some very solid lockdown as well if they decide to go for those aggressive roaming supports, or even if they want to, they can potentially go for an aggressive tri-lane with the 2 supports plus 1. So Rubik just being that standard support that can do a little bit of everything during the early game is absolutely fine. Now, we have the Spectre picked up by Isurus. This is going to be their hard carry. This is indicating to me that Isurus is just going to go for constant team fight and then have the Spectre just haunt in to grab some extra kills. I'm looking at their draft, and I feel like a Disruptor would be a really good hero to finalize their draft. Disruptor very good up against a TA and a Queen of Pain, both of them needing spells, so if you can keep them controlled up, then I would like to see that Disruptor.
Yeah, they just need some form of hero who can, get to a certain point and then be very comfortable fighting. And Disruptor is not exactly the best at that, but as far as supports go, is pretty good because it seems like Not Today are already pretty aggressively slanted with Templar Assassin, Queen of Pain. Their goal now is very clear: apply pressure to the Spectre and try to get in to the Isurus gaming base before the Spectre really gets big, and that is very possible. Isurus gaming's 4 heroes, that's part of the 4 in the 4 Protect 1. Doom, Batrider, Winter Wyvern +1, they are not the best at brawling. I mean, Doom is definitely a capable hero at that. Batrider needs his Blink Dagger so importantly. If he is delayed at all, then that's really going to stifle Isurus' game plan. The Spectre may just have not much space here with the Leshrac pickup from Not Today. This is, well, here that we don't see anymore, but you do have Rubik set up. It does have Edict, so being able to push down towers does provide a little bit of value, and you get some meld synergy with the minus armor. In theory, I like this pick, but the hero just isn't that strong.
I've seen a little bit of Leshrac during the major qualifiers, and the hero just isn't as strong as he used to be anymore. It's quite sad, but in the inside, let's be honest, I'm pretty sure we're glad we don't see Leshrac 24/7 anymore. Pick ban 100% ratio. It's more like maybe 10% pick ban. No, 5%.
Single digits, definitely.
Single digits? Okay. Maybe he really has fallen that down. It's okay, I don't want to see Leshrac ever again. I think we're all done with that hero for quite a bit. Now, like up to our final bans here for both teams. So Undying's going to be the final ban here for Isurus. So just getting rid of that crowd control annoying hero from Not Today. I think he would have been a really good final hero to finalize Not Today's draft because Undying, he's super annoying. The Tombstone can be a nuisance, and if you look at Isurus' draft, they don't really have the best heroes to deal with the Tombstone, and Ancient Apparition is going to be the final ban here for Not Today, so I don't know about AA going for AA being picked up for Isurus. Honestly, I think it would be a little bit too greedy because they're already running 3 heroes that need items desperately. So AA would have been okay, but he would have been extremely greedy.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect AA to be more likely picked up by the Not Today side just to try to lock down the healing power of both Doom and a Winter Wyvern. But either way, not going to be the pick. I do like the Undying ban quite a bit. Not Today, they can very easily circumvent that by grabbing someone like a Spirit Breaker and then applying the pressure just with charges 24/7, Queen of Pain, Templar Assassin, and Leshrac. No matter who is in that lane, they can go pretty aggressive pretty effectively. And Isurus Gaming, they're going to grab an Ogre Magi last. It's a melee hero, and melee hero supporting Spectre is always a little bit awkward, especially up against a Leshrac, Queen of Pain, 2 heroes that tear through melees. But for Isurus, again, they need to be able to fight early and often, and Ogre Magi does it actually the best. Like, he's so good at that. Still, there's quite a bit of magic damage, and another Abaddon. This time from Not Today. I don't know if they're trying to send a message or anything like that, but I actually do not mind the Abaddon pick in this particular draft.
Yeah, it's honestly not that bad. But we still have to see the execution of the hero because in theory, right, you look at Abaddon, or Abaddon, I don't know how people like to call him, Abaddon? Abaddon?
I call him Abaddon.
Abba.
I don't care what's right.
I call him Abba. There's Abba here. But in theory, though, Abba's pretty awesome, especially with their skill set. But in practice, I feel like the only disadvantage with Abaddon is that sometimes it's the cast point. It's a little bit too slow at certain times. It's not instantaneous, so I think that's a drawback for running a supportish / offlane Abaddon. And I don't like Abaddon as a core. You look at his skill set, it's nice, but it's not great as for running him in a core role. So we'll see how the Abaddon works.
Just look to the last game if you want proof of that, right? Like, the last game Isurus played, the farming Abaddon did absolutely nothing, but way back when, like, I want to say 0.82, I might be wrong about that, but, you know, back when Batrider used to be first pick material, he was the Leshrac, he was the Troll, the Sniper, that type of hero. We used to see a lot more Abaddon because of the fact that Aphotic Shield gets rid of Lasso. And that is pretty big. It does not get rid of Doom, but the heals and the extra sustain, they cut through as long as the Abaddon's not the one to get hit by that. So being able to get rid of the Doom, I'm not actually sure if it gets rid of Winter's Curse. I've not seen that interaction.
I was going to ask you that as well. Does it get rid of Winter's Curse? I think it's just because you haven't seen a Abaddon versus Winter Wyvern ever.
Oh, Pepita.
So the left onto Pepita. Oh, this could end really badly. It looks like he might die. Gets onto the high ground. One more right click and he actually goes down. Oh, that was a clutch right click coming out from Schofield. It was on the high ground as well.
Well, that is Isurus. Not exactly off to a great start. Pepita dead is going to be playing the Batrider, at least as much as he can. Rufy is on the Winter Wyvern support, as is K Ogre Magi. Got Elsa on the Doombringer down towards bottom. Algodonchin is on the Spectre. And the lanes are going to, in fact, be Batrider going up against the TA. But TA already with a little bit of an edge. I believe grabbed the Bounty Rune. Yes, she did.
So there will be a little bit of harassment onto the Templar Assassin, but it should be fine. But playing for Not Today on the Dire side today, we've got Schofield playing on our Rubik, Ewo playing on the Leshrac up towards top. In the mid lane, we've got DDX playing on the Templar Assassin. Towards the bottom section, we have Angel on our Queen of Pain, and I'm missing somebody here. If I can find them. On our Abaddon, we've got Goody. So I really want to see an Abaddon work for once this patch.
As a defensive support, he's melee, so he's a little bit awkward, but if you have so much offensive power coming out from a Leshrac, a Queen of Pain, and a Templar Assassin, the fact that he is melee and without poke isn't really going to be that much of an issue. You can get rid of Ignite, you can get rid of those Fire Blasts with the shield, and as long as he has managed to do so, you may even be able to dive a little bit deeper as Templar Assassin and that Queen of Pain, who definitely have kits that are conducive to diving, but usually don't have the sustainability to really easily get away with it. So this Abaddon pick, I think, is at least a lot better than Isurus' Abaddon pick in the last game, but it seems like the laning stage right now is going pretty well for Not Today, especially up towards top where Ewo and Schofield are in a 2v0 lane. Leshrac doesn't have level 2 Edict, which is a little bit of a shame because this could have been a lot of free damage onto this tier 1 tower, but leaving a Leshrac alone, I mean, with no one to really stop him in lane, means your tower is going to fall pretty quickly.
And it means that they really want to prioritize on the Doom's farm. They don't want him just to sit there to gather EXP. It looks like they really want him to get his Hand of Midas, I presume. Normally you see Doom just going straight for Hand of Midas as their first item.
Get the extra gold income and then try to get levels in Doom and then Aghanim Scepter on the Doom as well. Again, big tool versus Queen of Pain. Big tool versus Leshrac as well. Ooh, speaking of, has grabbed level 1 Edict. It doesn't do a ton of damage to the towers, but it's free damage that the Doombringer is not really going to be able to buff out anytime soon. Across the board, we see the CS being led by the red team. Dire. Angel's doing just fine in an offensive dual lane right now, and Spectre, though, she does have Ogre kind of around the area. He was hanging around there, as well as Rufy as the Winter Wyvern. This is a Spectre versus Queen of Pain for the most part, who is able to get back up from Goody. So the Shadow Strike harassment is going to be pretty severe, and going aggressive towards the Abaddon, not really super easy since he is just so tanky.
So at this point for Isurus, what do they really have to do to make this lane a little bit easier for the Spectre? Do you think at this point they could even try to fight Angel as well as Goody, or do you think they're just going to sit around and make sure they play defensive with that Spectre? Because at the moment, Spectre's not getting much. Oh god.
Burned down by Pepita, just stacked up the tar. It was all the way to 7, then 8 tar charges, and then Batrider just the Firefly overhead. And there's no escape there for Templar Assassin. She had a full magic stick, she had a bottle, but it just wasn't enough. That is the matchup in this mid lane. Pepita should have the kill potential on Templar Assassin that's really not going to be met. You just have to find those opportunities, and for DDX, he just has to fall back when he gets 5 stacks of napalm on himself, playing a little bit too over-aggressive versus this Bat. Maybe a little bit of disrespect, maybe just forgot how much damage this Batrider can put out.
I think a lot of players just don't really play against Batrider a lot, so they don't know the extent of the hero, they don't know when they can make those certain plays. So that might also be a factor to take into consideration, because I don't think I've ever seen a mid Batrider for patches. A lot of patches.
And whenever you do see one, like if you do see it, you're like, yes,
it's like
we won our mid lane. Game over. We did it, boys. But
like
yeah, Pepita's doing a pretty damn good job over here in this mid lane, and he's going pretty quickly towards his level 6. So once he gets Lasso, killing off the Templar Assassin is a lot easier. And of course, Blink Dagger is going to make it easier still. This Batrider is so important here for Isurus. Doom is closing onto his level 6 pretty rapidly as well. And once those come up, then the Spectre is able to get a little bit more free space. Until then, she's probably just not going to get anything. There's not much she can do about that. But sooner or later, the farm is going to come through, and towards top lane, they're actually going to open up with Edict onto the Doom, forcing to use Scorched Earth. Edict now onto the tower with a catapult here as well. Schofield might take a couple of shots right now. The tower will fall, else he's not going to get that deny. Lift up. There is another Split Earth. It's only level 1. It's going to land anyway. With the lightning there, they're just not doing enough damage to cut through the Scorched Earth. But now the Scorched Earth actually times out. Ewo's still going to right-click away. Lightning for a little bit of slow. Has another Split Earth. Has another Edict. But with the right-clicks, they'll take the Doom down and the tower. And now the push is able to continue. Leshrac is going to grab level 3 in the Edict. Yeah, top lane is going to be soon devoid of towers for Isurus.
There was a small opening in the bottom lane for them to attempt to do a little bit of damage to Angel, but aside from that, there's very little kill potential in this bottom lane for Isurus, so I think at this point, they just have to keep the Spectre alive. Now, there is going to be a TP in that top lane to make sure that the tower does not take a considerable amount of damage, so one support as well as the Doom have to rotate into the top lane to keep that safe, but this means that they're going to be leaving the Spectre open to Angel, and if Angel sees this, he may attempt to dive the Spectre once he hits that level 6, which should be coming in a couple more levels.
Algodonchin is going to back off in the lane right now. Ewo and Schofield both have Arcane Boots, and that's actually not going to be super relevant right now, simply because Leshrac has gone for Edict, and not for maxed out Split Earth, not Split Earth. Yes, Split Earth, not Scorched Earth. Split Earth, Lightning Storm. Jesus, so many Earth spells. If you had that, then the spam would be flowing like water, and it would be really bad for Isurus' top lane, but it seems like this Leshrac, given 3 points in Edict, may consider going for some rotations. He's just going to go for a pretty standard Bloodstone build, but nowadays for Leshrac, especially after the hit to his Lightning Storm damage output, the Edict build is that much more attractive, and that is a very much so aggressive pushing-based build.
It is very good at pushing, but it's also good at just catching out people solo, right? You just chase them down, and obviously you're going to out-damage them in normal situations. Obviously there could be there could be other things that to take into consideration, but he can solo kill people. That is one thing to note, and it's cheaper for him, so he can constantly throw out harassment. And what's Isurus really going to be able to do about it? They don't have an Abaddon. They don't have an early mech carrier, do they? They don't have anyone that can pick up a mech about 20 minutes or so.
Doom is the only one who should be able to afford it, but doesn't really want to spend money on a mechanism. So no mech should be incoming. They do have the Embrace, which is really good versus Templar Assassin, and Leshrac going for a lot of physical damage would be pretty good against him too. If he was going for burst, then the Embrace is not really what you want, but the Winter Wyvern will eventually get to that defensive stage, but not getting a ton of experience right now. It's like 2-1 right now, and not today. They're still leading in CS pretty comfortably at that. Doombringer is not on top of the net worth chart, which is strange to see, but he does have his namesake ultimate. That represents a pretty easy opportunity to get kills. He's immediately going to blow smoke on the Rubik, and not even make an aggressive play, but level 6 on the Doom is a threat, and it is probably going to be on bottom lane where Isurus are going to go first. They're converging on it right now. They have the lasso. They're going to open up with the Ignite onto Angel. The shield is immediately going to take all of that out. Now he's looking to turn around with the Sonic Wave. It's Algonancia taking a lot of damage. Sonic Wave being held, will be thrown, and the Shadow Strike will be lethal damage unless someone gets the deny. They won't. Angel's going to get pulled with the lasso, but he has a blink out into the Winter Wyvern. Ewo's going to arrive as well with the Lightning Storm. Not going to do that much damage. Angel will fall to the Splinter Blast. Goody not too healthy either, will also die. Now it's Ewo with the Pulse Nova and the Edict. Is that enough damage? It'll kill off the Winter Wyvern. Now he'll get enough distance away from Pizza to be fine. Lift up. He's going to actually get hit with a little bit of napalm, a little bit of justice there from Schofield. Has another bolt in 2 seconds. Won't even need it with the right click. He'll use the bolt instead to kill off the Ogre. And Schofield draws a double. Ewo survives somehow. And Not Today take a 4v4, and they take a huge win, a 2-for-4 engagement.
That was absolutely tragic. They were supposed to get the kill on the Queen of Pain, but unfortunately with their kind of draft that they're running, they don't have the burst damage and the lockdown yet to keep the hero down long enough to grab that kill. So she gets away, and all of a sudden they're really left open to all these other heroes, and they're so mobile. You're dealing with the Queen of Pain, then you have a Rubik that's going to be there with the constant lift, plus stealing Napalm. That's the best spell you can steal from a Batrider if you can't get the lasso. You just constantly throw napalms, and immediately you see a huge effect when you fight up against Isurus with it. Their turn rate is horrible. They can't fight the fight on their terms, and they're constantly just having to go and continue on fighting. Otherwise, they're not going to get anything in return, and that's going to be a quick deward as well. That's pretty sad, unfortunately, for Isurus. So that's going to be some map control going in the way of Not Today.
That's also the type of fight for Isurus where you kind of need to have your Doom. If they just had the Scorched Earth there, like even if he didn't have enough for his ultimate, like no mana or whatever, that wouldn't have been that much of a problem. Just the Scorched Earth having another 1,000 health pool worth of hero there to just right click away towards the Ewo, towards the Rubik, would have cleaned house for Isurus, but they just did not teleport him in. I guess, to be fair, Not Today also didn't have their Templar Assassin in there, and that's also a fight where TA would have been able to get quite a lot of value, but clearly Isurus, they need to be able to fight and burst down these targets. And we did see the effectiveness of a defensive support like Abaddon in that last fight, just being able to let the Queen of Pain go a little bit more ham. Ended up getting her a kill and ended up getting her a lot of distance out afterwards. Yeah, he did die, but hey, it's the price you pay for an Abaddon. The tower's going to fall in the bottom lane, and the push is not going to stop here. Ewo now has maxed out his Diabolic Edict, and with only Ogre Magi teleporting into the vent, this tower is going to take a hell of a lot of damage. It may just fall, though it is fortifiable.
I don't think they're going to be able to protect it. I feel like at this point they just have to leave that tower, let it drop, and try and get their own exchange anywhere, but unfortunately for Isurus, they drafted a kind of draft where they can fight great, that's alright once they have everything necessary, but their counterplay, it's not really there. They can't defend towers, they don't really have the best wave clear, and Pepita hasn't got his Blink Dagger yet. He really needs this, and then from there on, I feel like that's where he's going to have his most cost-efficient, most time-efficient use, really, because if you get the blinks in, then at least you're going to have that surprise factor when you try and go for those ganks, and we're going to have a massive rotation coming from Not Today, and they want to grab this middle tower too, and unfortunately Isurus, what can they do? They could try and Firefly, but Pepita would probably get lifted up by the Rubik, and that's it.
The problem here for the Batrider is that he kind of has to go for Goody, or he has to hope that Goody is not in range to shield off whoever's going to get hit with that lasso. The Blink Dagger initiation is so important here for Isurus. They have the follow-up in the Doom charging, and they have a Haunt on Spectre. They are, in theory, ready to go for these fights, but if Goody is able to brick wall that with the shield, then the fight is just going to crumble for Isurus, and I don't really see it going well for them at all. The Batrider's Blink Dagger being a surprise, no longer a thing since he's going to show it off. Splinter Blast being chucked out by Schofield. You know, he's stealing kind of these like low-ish impact skills. Like you would obviously rather like to steal a Doom or a Lasso or something like that, but he's just stealing skills very, very quickly. And for Pete's sake, he's level 8 as a Rubik. Like, the Templar Assassin is level 8. Schofield is really cashing into his experience pool right now.
And unfortunately for Isurus, they're just confined near their T3 towers, and you never want to be in this situation, and it looks like this tower's going to drop. So Isurus, what do they want to do at this point? Do they try and go for some sort of counterplay when they retreat? It doesn't seem so. So unfortunately for Isurus, they get nothing out of those towers. They don't even get any split push happening. They're so scared. They're confining themselves to what seems to be a 5-man unit.
Spectre gets phase boots in that time, level 7 as well, but not today. They're just systematically going through all these buildings and killing everything off. That's the power of Edict on Leshrac. He may not be the best at nuking people down immediately, but as long as he's able to stay alive in those fights or just go for towers, he'll be able to get that job done. They have no medallion, no problem. DDX with just a little bit of melt. In fact, only level 1 is going to have more than enough damage to tear down Roshan. There's no response here from the Isurus side, even though Batrider would be a really good hero to have in this stage, and Haunt does pretty well in this area as well. Not today are going to grab this Roshan, and then it's going to be most likely up towards the top lane where they're going to go. They won't have a Desolator up on the Templar Assassin by the time that push is going to come through, and I don't think they will, but still, double life on a Leshrac who has 1200 HP. He's a tough nut to crack, and up towards top lane, they're not even going to get that trade for Isurus, so they end up giving up Roshan and getting very little, if anything, in response.
And they're always having to move together as well. I feel like at this point, Isurus is probably kicking themselves in the gut for picking up a Doom, and instead they would have preferred to pick up something with some sort of burst so that if Pepita ever does go for that lasso, then at least they have the burst damage to follow up and kill somebody else. They're going to go for the lasso onto DDX, bring him onto the high ground, and this is the best place to keep a Templar Assassin. You don't even have to be anywhere near her, so she's going to melt and Doom. It's a bit of overkill, honestly, but I'm pretty sure they wanted to secure the kill there, so I think they had to do everything necessary to make sure they got that kill. Now, Rafael, in the meantime, he might be hunted down, but it looks like he's going to back out in time.
That's a really dead Templar Assassin to get pulled up there with no Blink Dagger, no Force Staff on your side. Even if Goody was there for the shield, it still wouldn't have done nearly enough, but TA or not, it seems like Not Today still think they're powerful enough with this Aegis to go for this next tower, and I think that's a correct assessment. You know that Isurus just used 2 of their biggest ultimates in the Lasso and the Doom, and at low levels, the Lasso has a very low, or very high cooldown rather, very low uptime, and Doom's cooldown is, well, pretty high as well with 100 seconds. Tower down, and the lack of Templar Assassin may hurt them if they get into a fight, but do Isurus even have the ability to start a fight right now? Uo is soon going to be chipping away with the Edict, and there is no more fortification. Splinter Blasts galore coming out from this Winter Wyvern. That's really the only counter push they have. Multicast onto Uo did pretty much nothing, and that Splinter Blast is stolen once again by Schofield. It's level 3 skill, and it's going to be returned in force. It may or may not drop Ewo, but again, he has the Aegis, and he is going to at least guarantee the destruction of this tower. KNK looking for the deny, not going to find Leshrac. Last game, now they get the lift up onto the Ogre Magi. Splitter is going to land. He's going to get dropped to the Scream Pain through the Embrace, and Ewo, he has the Edict still ticking away. It's going to get split a little bit by the buildings. Templar Assassin, though, is going to make her arrival. Flame Break going to touch them, but it's not going to do that much, and Pepita's got to be real scared here. He has another lasso, but he has to go for Goody. Here's the Haunt. Is Spectre going to jump in? She does. Going to try to go for Schofield. They grab Ewo, and there's no shield to break that one, but he's the one with the Aegis, so he doesn't really care. Now they're onto the Doom, who jumped in way too far, and yeah, he got his ultimate off onto Goody, so there's no heals here, but he's going to die in response. Algodonchin trying to book it out. He's going to think about going for Schofield. He will get the kill with the help of the Batrider, but loses life in exchange. KNK going to throw out some fire. Will kill off the Abaddon, but the melee Raxes have already fallen, and Uwo still has the Aegis. He may lose to the Ignite. Looks like he will die for the first time. DDX now going to be forced out by the Spectre, but here comes the Leshrac once again. Pepita has arrived back into this fight, but he doesn't even have Firefly up right now, and Ewo has the Pulse Nova ticking. Edict is there as well. He's getting hit with the Curse. There's not much follow-up. Now the Shadow Strike is here from Angel's going to try to help Ewo, who's just going to commit Sudoku and get the hell out of there. DDX trying to TP out, Wicked with the multicast, and it looks like he should be falling. I don't think he can get anyone before he does go down. Not Today lose quite a few heroes, but what they gain is Raxes 16 minutes in. It's a decisive victory for the Dire.
That was so disgusting. Isurus couldn't do anything until they had slowly whittled down Not Today till they reach HP points that were more comfortable for them to go for the initiation. So this is going to be a huge disadvantage. They don't have anyone that can clear creeps effectively aside from the Batrider. And you don't want Batrider sitting in lane 24/7. Spectre's going to be the one to do it. So it's not like she's a hero that picks up a Battle Fury. Yeah, she could pick up a Radiance. But this Radiance is going to appear somewhere around 25 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes more, maybe. Depends on how he actually does. He is farming okay. But man, this is a huge disadvantage to have at this point in the game. Like 17 minutes, you don't want to have to think about super creeps.
And that was just a Templar Assassin with just her base kit. Now as a Desolator, they're going to get the jump onto Pepita, lift him up. He does have the Fireflies, going to get it over the hill with the Force Staff. He'll be just fine, though. Schofield is chasing with the haste rune. Not able to jam that one home. They do not have an Aegis any longer, but what they do have is a super fat Leshrac and a Templar Assassin who now is dealing a lot more damage, not only to the heroes, but also towards the towers. Not that they have a decision point to make. Do they slow down and wait for perhaps another Roshan, another set of items, or do they just go down the bottom lane and look for Raxes? I think they could probably justify going for either, but we actually do see another huge item for Not Today. It's a Lotus. This is usually not seen on Queen of Pain, not seen on anyone really, but if you look at what Isurus have, it's all value. Like, block a Lasso, that's fantastic. Block a Doom, you're feeling really great about yourself. Winter's Curse, Splinter Blast, really the only one you don't want to block, but still, there's so much upside on Angel right now.
It looks quite all in though, picking up a Lotus Orb this quickly on a Queen of Pain, so it looks like they want to finish the game as soon as possible. Now unfortunately Schofield couldn't find anything, he will cop quite a bit of damage, so he's going to be forced back and healed up by the Abaddon. This is the awesome thing about running an Abaddon. If you have an advantage, you have so much healing going your way that this is disgusting. They can just push for days and they don't have to worry too much about HP. The only thing is that unfortunately Goody didn't go for anything like Tranquil Boot, so his HP is not going to regen as quickly as he would like to. So I think at this point, Not Today is just going to slow it down a little bit. And then once they feel more comfortable, then they can try and push high ground, or they could just wait for the Roche, which unfortunately is going to take something along the lines of 4 or 5 minutes. Depends how lucky they are with the Roche respawn timer.
Isurus are crossing their fingers and hoping that Roshan is going to take maximum respawn time. Of course, we don't know the respawn timer just yet. I wasn't paying attention to it when it showed us last, so yeah, we're just gonna have to sit here and wait and see. But for Isurus, they need to get some sort of big item up. It looks like it's not going to be that Radiance. Broadsword is the pickup for the Spectre, and well, Broadsword doesn't really build into that many useful items for the Spectre. Blade Mail is really good up against Leshrac, and Queen of Pain to a lesser extent, but oh, go up towards top lane. Rufy in a little bit of trouble. Ewo caught him with the Glimmer Initiation. Winter Wyvern going to fall. You never want to get Blade Mail on Spectre as a first item, ever. But yeah, at the same time, you gotta do what you gotta do. The Spectre's third from the bottom on her team in net worth. She's right in the middle of the pack.
I don't really like this item pickup. She's only got 1k HP, so even though you have a Blade Mail, honestly, I think by the time you really do any damage with the Blade Mail, you're dead. So Blade Mail's okay, but I would like her to accumulate a little bit more HP, so I guess maybe try and get a little more cost-efficient items to give you some strength, but aside from that, I'm not too keen on the Blade Mail, but I don't really think he has that many options left when it comes to buying cheap items that won't take that long to make. Like, he could try and build into a Diffusal Blade, but I think at that point, or at this point right now, his illusions die so quickly that the impact that they do isn't really worth it. So, for what he's doing so far,
he's completely cornered right now. You can't escape from the Queen of Pain, and he's like, that's not even going to be needed. He's going to get dropped, completely surrounded, and instantly brought down. As Batrider down for 45 does have buyback, and Not Today are going to try to force it out. But yeah, as you said, there aren't really many alternatives Spectre can be going for. I guess a good build-up right now would be something like Blade Mail into Drums, or something along those lines, just to try to get some form of HP. But if you're going to try to go all in and try to get that Relic up, that'll put you in the best position if you are able to get it, but the chances of being able to complete it, given this amount of pressure, so low. It's probably just not worth your time to hold that much gold and let it rot in your inventory. But now they're going to have to go into a full 5-on-5 engagement. Spectre is with that Haunt. Batrider's going to be up in 9 seconds. Let's see if the Lotus Orb is going to get any value right now, because the tower is very quickly dropping to the Desolator effect, plus the Edict. Jump forward from Schofield is going to get a steal. It's just the Tar right now, but they're onto the Ogre Magi regardless of that fact. It's not going to quite be enough to kill off the Ogre, as Elsa does jump into the back lines, get onto the DDX, and And GDX needs some help from Goody right now, who does have the shield. Lasso onto GDX right now, but it was also Lotus Orb, so Pete is not going anywhere. The Sonic Wave through is going to cut through too, but it's not quite going to be enough. Ewo in the meantime getting locked down by the curse. He's going to turn around, kill off the Ogre Mage, who was doomed by Skullfield. Was able to steal that one. Now they're onto Rufy. Lift him up. The Pulse Nova is still ticking. Double kill for Ewo. Algodonchin going to try to go 1v4. Not going to happen. It's a triple kill for Ewo. And we saw the value of the Lotus Orb in that fight, and we also saw the value of the Abaddon in that fight. Still alive, is still able to heal, and Ewo, he's going to get juiced up to half HP to 2/3 HP very, very quickly. Melee racks on bottom lane are in trouble, and up towards top, the creeps are flooding in as well, so Isurus have two fronts with which to defend. With only 2 heroes alive right now, Doom's going to blink right in for a stomp. That does next to nothing. Now he's going to get lifted up. Shadow Strike is there, plus the Split Earth. Doom's going to fall with buyback granted. But now he's not going to get another item for a very long time. He may have just saved his Raxes with that play, but it costed them a hell of a lot. Ewo can still just suicide out of here. Nothing is going to stun him. No, they will get the Flame Break. Now the Leshrac is going to have to fight to the death. Has quite a bit of mana, however. Stomp is there. Ewo stunned up, but he does have a little bit of backup here still. Goody is going to have his ultimate pop. Not going to get any heal from that. And looks like everyone else, not today, they're going to fall back. Tower is down. Melee Raxes do survive. But Roshan is up, and, well, he might just be dead soon enough.
DDX could just solo this Roshan if he really wants to. So it's up to them if they want to do that or not. But man, Not Today is tearing through Isurus, and unfortunately for Isurus, they just got no chance to really get any opening for their own counter initiation plays, or any opening for Spectre to farm any extra items. Like, he's doing the best he can. But with what he currently has, his impact is so low now. Unfortunately, you have the Doom that tried to go for a cute little play in the Rouge Pit, but he gets caught out. They still have the Bat Rider. He's going to try and go for the Blink Steel. Can he get it? No, he gets lifted. CA gets the Aegis, and unfortunately, rest in pieces, Bat Rider. He's going to be down for 50 seconds. So, not today. These guys are just ripping through Isurus.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of a necessary play, or at least it's a desperation play. And at this point, Isurus, they sure as hell are desperate. But yeah, Doom just walking in, getting annihilated. Bat Rider getting spotted by a random trap. I think that's why he was spotted in the first place, because he flew over that one. And there's not much that you could do once the Queen of Pain and Templar Assassin both know that you're there. Seems like it's going to be bottom lane the objective here for Not Today. Goody is not too healthy, so he's going to have to juice up back in the fountain. But now we have additional countermeasures being picked up by Not Today. It's going to be not one but two Lincoln Spheres to be purchased down the line, as Leshrac and Queen of Pain both have theirs. It's a lot of defensive spells, defensive tools here, defensive items here for Not Today. But if your goal is to block the Lasso, block the Doom, Lincoln Sphere and Lotus Orbs all day long. Not Today. They're prepping for what looks like can be the Doom push. Isurus have pretty much no more buybacks. Do they have any buybacks? Spectre, yes. Winter Wyvern, yes. But neither of those two heroes can do that much with a buyback.
Yeah, if Spectre uses Horn, and then she dies and she buys back, she can't do anything except from potentially run in. There will be a Sonic Wave. They're going to try and go for a kill. Quick kill onto the Spectre. He will be healed up, but it doesn't really matter. The magical damage is there, and that's 40 seconds. She's down. She will come back. There's the Horn. Lotus as well as the Lincoln Vision pops, and all of a sudden they're going to try and jump onto Goody. He has been doomed, so he's not going to be able to heal anybody. Winter's Curse is going to be there. They're actually going to go up. Angel, it seems, and die. Aegis is there for the Templar Assassin. He will go down. Now he will come back up again. We have Schofield chasing down heroes. They're going to try and blow somebody up, and 2 goes down. Spectre as well as the Leshrac. He had to commit suicide though, but the Wyvern gets picked up, as well as the Bat Rider. Buyback from the Wyvern. And the Winter Wyvern's just going to have to throw out spells constantly to slow this down. Okay, Magi, he can't do anything. He's melee range. If he gets caught out, this guy's just going to get blown up as well. So I think at this point, KNK is doing the best he can. He just cannot get into the fight to do anything.
That last fight for Isurus was actually perfect. Like, they blink in, doom the Abaddon, blink in, drag the Leshrac away from everyone else with a Bat Rider, and use the curse on Angel so that the Templar Assassin is not hitting the Radiant, she's hitting her buddies. That is like textbook team fight coming out from Isurus, but at this point they're just so far behind. They weren't able to effectively kill off the Leshrac after using the lasso. It was just a diversionary tactic, and the Templar Assassin had her Aegis, so that they did bring her down. She wasn't dead for very long. This was a very clean game for Not Today. At the same time, you can make the argument that this was a very dirty game from them. This was just push, 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 and Isurus, just like that, after 2 quick games, are out of BGC 2015.
Yeah, it was just perfect play from Not Today as well. They had a plan and they stuck to the plan the entire way. They never changed the plan. They just made sure that they got the objectives and they just kept following the step by step, just going tower after tower, knowing that they're up against a draft, which if you give them space, they have a chance to come back. So they said, okay, let's take that space away. So push, 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 and all of a sudden Isurus is just choked on nothing. They've got no gold income. They've got very little EXP income as well. So I think at this point, it was just a complete outplay and outdraft. I think the draft was also a major problem for Isurus too.
They just didn't have enough in that early game. That's kind of what happens if you're going to try to go for a Spectre and get a Bat Rider. You need to get pickoffs very quickly once you get that blink. And he got 0, I think. Not enough, let's say. He just didn't get enough. But
yes.
Guys, that's going to be it for this one. It's also going to be the end of Isurus' run. We're not done here just yet. Next match coming is going to be Keith Stars going up against Arctic. And that one, well, I'm pretty sure Keith Stars have a significant edge there, but we'll see. It's going to be coming up next, hopefully soon. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Danelie Cast. Don't go anywhere, because the next game is going to be coming hopefully sooner rather than later. GG, guys.